Hello everyone and welcome to the Shadow Realm. Today we're gonna demonstrate several DDD combos, starting with the most basic one using Lamia, Slime and Necro Slime. First we're gonna activate Swirl Slime effect in the hand, using it and Necro Slime to special summon Triple D Flame King Genghis. Then we're going to activate the effect of Slime in the graveyard, banishing it so we can special summon Lamia from the hand. This triggers the effect of Flame King Genghis to special summon the Necro Slime from the graveyard. At this point we're gonna synchro summon using Lamia and Flame King Genghis, special summoning Triple D Gas King Alexander. Then we're gonna link summon using Necro Slime and Gas King Alexander, and we're gonna special summon Crossip. Then we're going to activate the effect of Necro Slime in the graveyard, banishing it, and Flame King Genghis, so we can special summon from the extra deck, so we can special summon Triple D High Flame King Genghis. This is going to trigger the effect of Crossip to special summon from the graveyard the DD Lamia. Make sure you don't summon your monsters under Crossip zones. That triggers the effect of Flame King Genghis, and we can special summon Gas King Alexander from the graveyard. After that we can proceed to link summon using Crossip and Lamia, and we can special summon Crystron Hulky Fibrax. Then, using the effect of Crystron, we can special summon directly from the deck a DD Ghost. That triggers the effect of Gas King Alexander, special summoning back the Lamia from the graveyard. Then we can use Lamia and Gas King Alexander for a synchro summon of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. This card provides us with a monster effect negate. Then we can link summon our two DD monsters for a Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh, triggering its effect as Chainlink 1, and we can use DD Ghost as Chainlink 2, potentially ensuring that the effect is going through, while also providing another Lamia in the graveyard. Then we're going to pay 1000 life points and set our two scales. We can use the effect of King Apocalypse in the scale to special summon him by banishing two DD monsters from our graveyard. Then that triggers the effect of Ghost in the banish zone, bringing back our Triple D Flame King Genghis that we're gonna revive shortly after. Then we can use the effect of Lamia in the graveyard, destroying the Triple D King Gilgamesh and reviving her in the monster zone. That is also gonna trigger the effect of Triple D King Ragnarok, reviving back the Triple D Flame King Genghis. Then we're going to synchro summon for Triple D Curse King Siegfried, and this is where we're gonna pass turn to our opponent. We have a spell and trap negate, a monster effect negate, and on the following turn we can banish Crystron, so we can special summon from our extra deck Formula Synchron. Then we can draw a card, and immediately after the effect resolves we can synchro summon, special summoning from our extra deck a Satellite Warrior that can destroy cards on the field depending on the amount of synchro monsters in a graveyard, in which case we have 3 synchro monsters in a graveyard, meaning it will get 1000 attack points for each card destroyed. Alternatively, we can synchro into a Borderload Savage Dragon using Formula Synchron and Fire King Genghis, equipping it with Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh. That provides us with 1 extra Omni Negate, and that's one of the most basic boards we can make. Now let's go to the next combo. Now we're going to showcase one of the most potent combos we can do with this deck, requiring us to have one of the gate spells on our hand. We're going to assume that we have Dark Contract with a gate at hand. We're going to start the combo by activating Dark Contract with a gate. This is the point where your opponent could use us, so if you have Gamma in your hand, this is the best scenario to activate it, potentially reaping another hand drop from your opponent's hand, but we are going to proceed assuming that our opponent has no hand drop in their hand. Just remember that this is a really frequent scenario. You just need to have space in the extra deck for Psyframe Lord Omega. Now we're going to grab Lamia using Dark Contract's effect, and then we're going to normal summon Kepler. Since we already have a Dark Contract with a gate, we can grab Dark Contract with a Witch that can destroy one card on the field, while also protects us in the scenario where your opponent used Dark Ruler no more, and I will explain that later in the combo. We proceed by activating the effect of Swirl Slime, and then special summon from the extra deck a Triple D Flame King Genghis. Then we banish Swirl Slime from the graveyard and special summon from the hand the DD Lamia, which triggers the effect of Flame King Genghis and revives back the Necro Slime. Then we can proceed to synchro summon using Lamia and Genghis, and then we special summon from the extra deck the Triple D Gast King Alexander. Then we use the DD Necro Slime and the Triple D Gast King Genghis to link summon Crossip. We have to be extra careful with our zones in this particular combo. Then we are going to use the effect of Necro Slime in the grave, banishing it, and Genghis to special summon from the extra deck the Triple D High Flaming King Genghis. Since we summon under Crossip Zone, that triggers its effect to special summon DD Lamia from the graveyard. Then we activate Genghis effect to bring back Alexander. Then we can use DD Lamia and Triple D High Flame King Genghis for a link summon, this time bringing Return Hulky Fibrax. And then we can proceed to use its effect to special summon from the deck one level 3 or lower tuner, this time DD Ghost. That also triggers the effect of Alexander, so we can bring back Lamia from the graveyard. Now we can use DD Lamia and Triple D King Alexander for a synchro summon of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon that provides us with our first negate. At this point we can proceed to use DD Savant Kepler and DD Ghost for a link summon of the Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh that locks us into summoning DD monsters for the rest of our turn. Upon summon, we use its effect as Chainlink 1 and Chainlink 2 DD Ghost that we send to the graveyard, so we can have another Lamia copy in the graveyard, and we place our 2 scales. Now we can use Chaos King Apocalypse effect, so we can special summon him by banishing 2 DD monsters from the graveyard, by banishing Ghost and Triple D High Flame King Genghis. That also triggers the effect of Ghost to return one of our Triple D monsters back into the graveyard, and that we will shortly revive after. Then we can use Lamia's effect in the graveyard by destroying Abyss King Gilgamesh, and that also triggers the effect of Oblivion King Ragnarok. By paying 1000 life points, we revive back the Triple D Flame King Genghis, and at this point we can go for our last synchro summon of Triple D Cursed King Siegfried that provides us with a spell called Trap Negate. Lastly, we have to set our Dark Contract with a Witch that we search off Savant Kepler, and then we pass our turn back to our opponent. Now this board might not seem that impressive, but we have a monster negate and a spell and trap negate, while also having the ability to destroy one card with Dark Contract with a Witch. In case our opponents use Dark Ruler no more, we can respond by activating Dark Contract with a Witch, trying to destroy Dark Ruler no more, and since we're not directly responding to the activation of the spell, we can negate it with Siegfried. And we can also use it against droplets in a similar manner. This is an interaction that few players understand, and you can catch your opponent off guard. Also, don't forget that during your opponent's turn, you can dig out Christian Hulky Fibrax in order to special summon Formula Synchron activating its effect to synchro summon using Siegfried, provided you have already used its effect, and you can destroy up to 3 cards in your opponent's possession using Satellite Warrior, while also triggering Cross-Up effect to give all your monsters 700 attack, and also revive Formula Synchro back from the graveyard, that we can immediately use it for a synchro summon of Borreload Savage Dragon, and equip it with a Beast King Gilgamesh that provides it with 2 Borreload counters. And that's the final board we can establish. Just remember to put the triple D Beast King Gilgamesh to the zone under Borreload Savage, so we do not block the pendulum zone that we can use on the following turn. And that wraps up this combo, that we actually had triple negates and up to 4 interruptions using the Dark Contract with the Witch and Satellite Warrior. Now let's start with our third combo. In this combo we're going to utilize the DD7 Copernicus, so keep in mind you'll need at least 3 copies of the card in your deck in order to maximize the consistency of the combo. But thanks to this card you will be able to play around Nibiru, that is a card that really shut down this deck. You will also need Triple D Divine Zero King Raids, a really powerful card for the archetype, but since it's a manga promo, it's not considered a legal card to play in your deck if you play in European events. So let's start by normal summoning Double D 7 Copernicus and using its effect to dump to the grave the King Raids. After that we're going to proceed as usual. We're going to use Swire Slam effect in hand to fusion summon Triple D Flame King Genghis. Then we're going to use Swire Slam effect in graveyard, banishing it so we can special summon Lamia from hand, and that's going to trigger Flame King Genghis effect to revive back Zero King Raids. This is our 4th summon, and we're going to use the effect of Zero King Raids to tribute one of our monsters to prevent our opponent from using card effects in the hand or in the graveyard, so we don't have to worry about Nibiru anymore, and we can proceed with our normal combos. Now we're going to synchro summon using Flame King Genghis and Lamia to bring out Triple D Gas King Alexander, and after that we can use Zero King Raids and Gas King Alexander for a link summon of Crossip. Keep in mind that in the following turn you can always bring Divine King Raids with the effect of DD7 Thomas. Then we are going to use Necroslam effect in the graveyard, banishing it, and Flame King Genghis, so we can fusion summon High Flame King Genghis from our extra deck. This is going to trigger Crossip's effect, so we can revive back Lamia, triggering in sequence the effect of High Flame King Genghis. That's going to revive Triple D Gas King Alexander. At this point we can use Crossip and Lamia, so we can bring Crystron Hulky Fibrax, using its effect so we can bring a level 3 or lower tuner. In this instance we're gonna summon DD Ghost, and that is going to trigger the effect of Gas King Alexander to revive back the Lamia. Then we can use Lamia and Gas King Alexander for a synchro summon of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, providing us with our first monster effect negate. And now we can use DD Ghost and High Flame King Genghis so we can link summon Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh. We're going to activate its effect as Chain Link 1, and Chain Link 2 we're going to chain DD Ghost, so we can send another copy of Lamia into the grave. And at this point we can set our 2 scales. Next we can use the scale effect of Chaos King Apocalypse, banishing 2 monsters from our graveyard, at this instance DD Ghost and High Flame King Genghis, so we can trigger Ghost effect in the banished pile and bring back the Triple D Flame King Genghis that we're going to need later in the combo. Now we can proceed to activate the effect of Lamia in the graveyard, so we can destroy the Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh and special summon him, and that's going to trigger the Triple D Oblivion King Ragnarok effect in the scale, reviving back Little Genghis from the grave, and then we can synchro summon into a Triple D Cursed King Siegfried. That's going to provide a spell or trap negate, and that's where we're going to end our turn, with effect of Siegfried for a spell or trap negate and one monster effect negate. We can also tag out Crystron to special summon Formula Synchron from our extra deck. This is going to give us one random card and give us the ability to synchro summon during our opponent's turn, either going for a Borreload Savage or a Satellite Warrior that can destroy a minimum of 3 cards on the field. But let's say we're going to synchro for Borreload Savage Dragon at this point. That's going to provide us with an Omni Negate during either player's turn. Also don't forget to equip it with Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh. And that is going to wrap up this combo. Now let's move to the next one, and let's see if we can make this board even crazier. Now let's see our last combo. We're going to special summon on the Hara, a really great starter for this strategy, since you can search any missing piece with Wearer Thou. In this case, we're going to grab Savant Kepler, so we can search for the gate that we need. Then, we're going to proceed and normal summon Kepler, activating its effect to search Dark Contract with a gate. Next, we're going to activate Dark Contract and search Lamia. We're going to proceed as usual, fusion summoning using the effect of Swire Slime in hand, special summoning Triple D Flame King Genghis from the extra deck. We're then going to banish Swire Slime and special summon Lamia from the hand, triggering the effect of Genghis to revive back the Necro Slime. After that, we're gonna use Lamia and Genghis to synchro summon Triple D Gas King Alexander. At this point, we can use Double D Savant Kepler and Double D Necro Slime for a link summon of Crossip. Then we can proceed for the synchro summon using Adhara and Triple D Gas King Alexander, so we can special summon Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Then we can use the effect of DD Necro Slime in the graveyard, banishing it and Flame King Genghis, so we can special summon from the extra deck the Triple D High Flame King Genghis. That is going to trigger the effect of Crossip, boosting the attack of all the monsters on the field by 700, including itself, while also reviving a DD Lamia from the graveyard. And since we special summon DD Lamia, that's going to trigger Genghis effect to revive back Alexander. Now we can use DD Lamia and Crossip for a link summon of Crystron Hulky Fibrax. That is going to special summon a copy of DD Ghost from the deck, while triggering the effect of Triple D Gas King Alexander to bring Lamia from the graveyard. Now we can synchro summon using DD Lamia and Triple D Gas King Alexander, so we can special summon Borreload Savage Dragon and equip it with Crossip from the graveyard, giving it 2 Savage counters. Then we can use DD Ghost and High Flame King Genghis for a link summon of Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh, activating its effect as Chainlink 1, while also triggering the effect of Ghost in the graveyard, sending another copy of Lamia to the grave. And then we can set her to scales. Next, we can proceed to activate the effect of Triple D Chaos King Apocalypse, banishing 2 DD monsters from a graveyard. In this instance, we're going to banish DD Ghost and Triple D High Flame King Genghis, so we can trigger the effect of DD Ghost when it gets banished, so we can bring back Triple D Flame King Genghis to the graveyard. After that, we can use the effect of DD Lamia in the graveyard. By destroying Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh, we can revive her back, but banish her when she leaves the field. Lastly, we can perform a synchro summon using DD Lamia and Chaos King Apocalypse, so we can special summon Triple D Cursed King Siegfried. That is going to trigger the effect of Oblivion King Ragnarok in the scale, and by paying 1000 life points we can bring Triple D Flame King Genghis from the graveyard, and that is going to be one of the most solid boards we can make. That is going to give us triple negates during our opponent's turn, and the ability to banish Crystal Hulky Fibrax during our opponent's turn, so we can special summon Formula Synchron, allowing us to draw a card and giving us the ability to special summon Satellite Warrior from the extra deck, or any other level 8 or level 10 synchro monsters we desire. But in this instance, we're going to demonstrate the combo using Satellite Warrior. Also, keep in mind that we have many resources that we can revive back on the following turn, and that's going to wrap up the combo. Now let's continue with our last combo. This is going to be a 3-card combo that's going to shut down our opponent during their turn. We're going to start things off by normal summoning Kepler and activating its effect to search Dark Contract with a gate. We then gonna activate the effect of Dark Contract with a gate to search Lamia. And then we're going to continue as normal, using Shroud Slime and Necro Slime, so we can special summon Triple D Flame King Genghis. After that, we're going to activate the effect of Shroud Slime, banishing it, so we can special summon Lamia from our hand and revive Necro Slime from the grave with the effect of Genghis. Moving on, we're gonna synchro summon using Lamia and Flame King Genghis, so we can special summon Triple D Gast King Alexander. Then we can use DD Savant Kepler and DD Necro Slime for a link summon of Crossip. Then we can use the effect of DD Necro Slime in the graveyard, banishing it alongside Flame King Genghis, so we can special summon the Triple D High Flame King Genghis. That is going to trigger the effect of Crossip to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the graveyard. And that's the point that this combo deviates from the rest. Using Crossip and DD Lamia, we can synchro summon for a copy of Crystron Hulky Fibrax. And next, we can use its effect to special summon a DD Ghost from the deck, and that is going to trigger the effect of Gast King Alexander to special summon Lamia from the graveyard. Then we're going to use DD Lamia and Gast King Alexander for the synchro summon of Borreload Savage Dragon, equipping it with Crossip from the graveyard. We can then special summon DD Lamia by destroying Dark Contract with a gate, and use her and High Flame King Genghis for the link summon of Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh. And by paying 1000 life points, we can set our 2 scales directly from the deck. And that's how we're going to end our turn, with 1 Omni Negate from the Savage and the ability to banish Crystron to special summon Formula Synchron from the extra deck, using its ability to draw 1 card and synchro summon using DD Ghost and Borreload Savage Dragon, so we can special summon Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. And when this card is synchro summoned, for the rest of the turn, our opponent cannot activate effects, and also cards our opponent controls cannot activate their effects. And on top of that, our opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation, meaning that they will probably end their turn. And then we can proceed to OTK them on the following turn, having most of the resources that we need on the hand or in the graveyard. Just keep in mind that this is a when effect, and it can probably miss timing. So make sure this is the last thing that resolves in the chain, and that is going to wrap up this last combo. I hope today's video was informative enough and helped you understand the basics of the Triple D strategy, and if it did, make sure to leave a like or even subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I will see you in the Shadow Realm.